Diddy's lawyers just made a huge move. They've officially filed new papers demanding his immediate release from custody. But they didn't stop there. His legal team is now pushing for something even bigger. They want a whole new trial, or for every single charge against him to be completely thrown out. This screams desperation. After news broke that prosecutors are asking for a 10-year prison sentence, Diddy is in full panic mode. He's ready to do absolutely anything to walk away free, even if it means putting up a staggering $50 million.
His defense is requesting either a new trial or an acquittal altogether. Combs was found not guilty of the more serious sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges, but was convicted of transporting sex workers across state lines. Now his attorneys say his actions don't fit the crime. Let's bring in Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky and ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer for more. Aaron, what's the latest here?
So, Diane, his attorneys say that the way this was charged doesn't exactly match what Sean Combs did. And they say he's the only person who's ever been convicted of this charge, transportation for the purposes of prostitution, who hasn't benefited from the prostitution other than through voyeurism. They say voyeurism, watching other people have sex, isn't what this law was meant to address. Combs, they say, didn't profit from the prostitution. In other words, he was no pimp here, and he wasn't a John either. He didn't have sex with the male escorts. Instead, he brought girlfriends and male escorts across state lines to watch them have sex. And his attorneys say that just doesn't fit what the law is about.
For the fifth time, Diddy's lawyers are begging for his freedom. They're back in court, and this time, they're putting a record-breaking offer on the table. $50 million to get him out. The word is, Diddy is absolutely desperate to escape prison. And according to other inmates inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, he's terrified. He's scared of what could happen to him behind those walls. But prosecutors aren't buying it. They've urged the judge to deny his request again. They insist Diddy is a danger to everyone around him and that he should never be let out.
Diddy's legal problem. So Diddy's legal team has just filed a motion for bail. They're offering $50 million. They're, basically arguing that it's unfair that he's behind bars given the nature of his conviction. His attorneys are asking the judge to approve the $50 million bond package, and they want him to live on house arrest in his Miami mansion while he waits, for his convictions. Now, the judge, has ordered Diddy to remain in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center until October 3rd, when his sentencing is set. So, and remember, the judge also, cited during the case that Diddy's admitted violence towards his former lovers, including Cassie. He said, quote, "It's impossible for the defendant to show he possesses no danger to any person." So he said that. So that's the reason he felt that he needed to stay behind bars. So I'm wondering, if this, if this will still apply as they're arguing this.
Let's see what's going to happen with this Diddy trial. Federal prosecutors are now responding to Diddy trying to get out, right, while he's waiting to get sentenced. And so basically what prosecutors are saying is that they believe that his response, that his crimes reflect aggravating, not mitigating factors, and they want to justify his continued incarceration. Diddy had said that he's just a John. He's not the one that participated in having sex with these male escorts. He only watched. Right. And his ex-girlfriends are the ones that had. Well, they said that ignores the fact that he transported individuals for the purpose of prostitution on hundreds of occasions over the course of decades. And they also said he did ply Cassie and Jane Doe with drugs to make sure they would participate in marathon freak-off sessions while victimizing them through his violent outbursts. So they said he should not be released on a $50 million bond because he does pose a danger.
Diddy's lawyer, Mark Adney-Philo, is making a shocking claim in court. He says his client is completely innocent because Diddy never actually participated in the parties himself. He claims Diddy just watched from the corner. But that argument makes absolutely no sense. How can you be innocent when you were the mastermind? You were the one arranging everything. You were the one forcing others into these terrible situations. Just watching doesn't make you innocent. It makes you the director.
So the Mann Act was passed in 1910, and it's changed a few times through the years, but really what it's geared at, what it's focused on, is prosecuting people who make money from the business of prostitution. And that's not the allegation against Mr. Combs. The allegation of Mr. Combs, what the jury found, essentially was that he was a user of services provided by sex workers, essentially a John, for lack of a better word. And the Mann Act just historically hasn't been applied to Johns. It's a financial statute. It's really been applied at people who look to make money from prostitution. And so since that's not how it's being applied here, we made the argument that we have to, under the case law and the statutes in this area, that this is an exceptional reason and that Mr. Combs should be considered for release on bail because of it.
Judge Arun Subramanian isn't budging. It doesn't matter how many times Diddy's lawyers file for bail. The judge sees him as a dangerous man who belongs behind bars. And here's the terrifying part for Diddy. Federal sentencing guidelines have no real limit for his crimes. That means if the judge wants to, he can throw the book at him and send him away for life. Even the prosecutors are now pushing for a harsher, more severe sentence. The walls are closing in.
Prosecutors put in an opposition to Diddy's bail request, and the prosecutors say they're actually looking for a more lengthy sentencing than what they originally thought. In this opposition, the prosecution is laying out the fact that the judge already denied Diddy's bail for being a violent person, and they hone in even more into Diddy's alleged violence against people. Prosecutors are saying that Diddy has actually been lying when he said that he didn't commit violence between his breakup with Cassie Ventura in 2008 up until 2024 with his incident with Jane. Let's go ahead and jump right into this motion. The government says despite the court's clear ruling that the defendant must be detained pending sentencing following his conviction on 2 felony counts, the defendant moves again for bail. The defendant's detention pending sentencing is mandatory. There is no exceptional circumstances justifying his release.
But he wasn't found guilty of everything. The most serious charges for racketeering didn't stick. The jury found him not guilty on those. However, he was convicted on other charges, and each one of those charges carries a heavy price. A maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
In early July, Combs was convicted on 2 prostitution-related charges, each carrying a maximum sentence of 10 years. He was found not guilty on the more serious racketeering charges.
Today's a great victory.
After the July verdict, prosecutors initially expected Combs would face a prison term of 4 to 5 years, according to CBS News. However, according to a written submission filed Thursday in a Manhattan federal court, as reported by the Associated Press, the expected sentence is now substantially higher. The submission also opposed Combs' request to be released on a $50 million bail ahead of his October 3rd sentencing. The filing also says Combs must remain in custody until sentencing unless he can prove exceptional circumstances, and according to prosecutors, he cannot. This comes after a previous bail request for $1 million was also denied following the verdict. A federal judge ruled there was no evidence to suggest Combs doesn't pose a danger to others or the community. With these latest developments, Combs will remain in jail until his sentencing on October 3rd.
Right after the July verdict, the talk was different. CBS News reported that prosecutors initially thought Combs would get 4 to 5 years in prison. But things have changed dramatically. According to a new legal filing in Manhattan federal court, covered by the Associated Press, that expected sentence is now much, much higher. The prosecution is also fighting hard against his desperate plea for a $50 million bail before his October 3rd sentencing. They state clearly that Combs must stay locked up unless he can prove something truly extraordinary justifies his release. And according to them, he has absolutely nothing.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, "Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him." If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation.
Inside sources from the prison are now painting a bleak picture. They say Diddy is crumbling, both mentally and physically. He's constantly complaining about the terrible food, the harsh conditions, and the fact that he's getting no special treatment whatsoever. One inmate even claims that Diddy has completely broken down, crying and saying he simply can't survive this kind of life. All of his past wealth and power mean nothing now. He's just another number in the system, and that reality is destroying him. There's even online speculation that he's become a target for other inmates, that he might be getting extorted or threatened, and that he's now truly fearing for his life behind bars.
2013, De Leon Tequila co-ownership, Diddy and Diageo jointly acquired De Leon Tequila, making it a deeper investment relationship. May of 2023, Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settled out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been a protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing is kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here.
Many believe Diddy should never see freedom again. They call him a true danger to society. The hashtag Diddy Combs is now trending as the very definition of a threat. People are demanding he be locked up forever, and the rumors are spiraling. Some are alleging that powerful Hollywood elites and top executives are the ones who actually want him silenced, that they're the ones ordering hits on him. And where did it all start? Allegedly. This entire nightmare began after Diddy sued the beverage company Diageo for backing out of their billion-dollar business agreement. Was that the moment he made too many powerful enemies?
You know, no jail or prison is expected to be a five-star hotel, we know that, but it's not supposed to be a house of horrors either.
Yeah, the troubled and violent Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn housing Sean Diddy Combs raided by the feds today. They're investigating poor conditions, rampant drug smuggling, mounting violence, and repeated inmate deaths.
Eyewitness News reporter Darla Moss live at the scene in Sunset Park with what's really going on. Darla.
Well, Bill, the Bureau of Prisons will only say this is an interagency operation to maintain a safe environment, but sources tell ABC News that inmates are not the target, and attorneys who've been seeing clients here for years say the timing is very curious.
Charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section, there is no concierge, only conmen, kings, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The Metropolitan Detention Center is known for all the wrong reasons. It's infamous for corruption, and a shocking number of inmates have mysteriously died inside its walls. But it's not just other prisoners Diddy has to fear. There's an active federal investigation digging into serious misconduct within the MDC itself. Diddy is desperate to get out as fast as he can before someone inside decides to take matters into their own hands.
Legal saga of Sean Diddy Combs entering a new chapter after his guilty verdicts. In court docs obtained by E! News, the Bad Boy Records founder filed a new motion July 30th, requesting to either overturn his convictions or grant the 55-year-old a brand new trial. Less than a month after Combs was convicted for transportation to engage in prostitution, his attorneys calling the verdict unprecedented, alleging Combs never actually committed illegal acts as the law describes, saying in their motion Combs, at most, paid to engage in voyeurism as part of a swinger's lifestyle. That does not constitute prostitution under a properly limited definition of the statutory term. The media mogul's legal team demanding an acquittal, and if not, they'll request a fresh start in court without evidence tied to his not guilty.
Every single day that Diddy spends in that cell is another day his life is on the line. His lawyers are fighting non-stop, trying everything they can to overturn his convictions. Now, if by some miracle they actually succeed, Diddy could just walk out a free man. But think about this. If he does walk away, what happens to everyone who testified against him? They would all be in serious, serious danger.
Me personally, do you think it's possible he might take his life?
It takes a certain individual to prepare himself to do a lot of years in jail. From the lifestyle that he had, I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he'd be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide.
There's a dark rumor spreading now. People are saying Diddy might pull an Epstein. Think about it. He holds too many secrets. For decades, he's been at the center of the music industry. He's seen it all. He knows the names, the places, the shady deals, and the hidden truths. And if he ever decides to speak, he could bring down some of the most powerful people out there. That's exactly why some might want him silenced forever. Even his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, says Diddy just doesn't have the strength to survive life in prison.
He's going to go to prison. And if you do, it'll be for something very, very small. It wouldn't be nothing what the people think. I don't think he's going to go nowhere long. But at the same time, you got to look at it. The best witness they had is KPD. KPD been an informant for a very, very long time. And KPD is getting ready to go to trial for the murder of Tupac. KPD said it, everybody else know it, and KPD says the money came from Puffy to kill Tupac and myself. So if they really wanted Puffy that bad, KPD would put a deal with them.
There's a wild new twist in this story, and it's coming from behind bars himself. Suge Knight is now claiming that Diddy is actually an FBI informant. Suge says everything happening right now, all these bail filings, the desperate legal moves, even the rumors of him being scared in prison, it's all just an act, a big show. He believes Diddy has been playing both sides for years, secretly feeding info to the feds to protect himself. All while still running his own empire from the shadows. In Suge's eyes, none of this fear is real. It's all just smoke and mirrors.
I do want to ask you, how you feel about this program that he enrolled into?
Well, the programs that they put him in is because of he's getting close to release or he may be released. So the Bureau of Prisons for the federal government has to give him a program based on his crime that he committed.
Gene Deal is breaking it down. He says Diddy's entire future hinges on one thing, his presidencing report. This report is everything. If it paints Diddy as a manipulative, remorseless predator, and based on all the lawsuits and allegations, that's very possible, then the judge could come down harder than anyone imagined. This document decides if he gets years or decades. And let's be clear, the prosecutors are pushing for exactly that outcome. They want that report to bury him.
So now, in the pre-sentence report that the probation officer, the federal probation officer do, they go by the history. If he had any criminal history, they go by the criminal history. They go by the history, the crime. They go by what the victim statements and all that. And they do this report that they submit to the judge. And submitting that report to the judge is going to have what they believe based on the guidelines of the prison system, the guidelines of the correctional sets up based on what the time he'll do based on the crime.
So what do you think? Is Diddy's time behind bars all part of some bigger hidden plan? Or is this finally the moment where the truth has caught up with him for good? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you want more uncensored deep dives into the stories they don't want you to hear, make sure to like this video and subscribe right now.